Hello, dear listener, dear viewer. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo, your host of this show, Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. I have a very exciting guest. As you know, call myself a serial entrepreneur. Every now and then, I want to invite entrepreneurs like me to come and share, impactful, valuable, and often, cutting edge information on industry matters. So during this COVID era, as you can see, I'm well dressed for it. It's always helpful to have iron sharpen iron and share some ideas. I have Mr. Fred Maunze, who is an entrepreneur operating here in Botswana. But as always, I leave it to my guest to explain who they are in detail and what they do.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Mogobe. My name is Fred Maunze. I own a company called RefTech Solutions.
RefTech?
Yes. So RefTech specializes in coding and marking machinery. So from installations, the maintenance and service of such machinery. We also specialize in plant machinery. So anything that you use to make food, liquid-based products. We supply those machines, we maintain those machines, we do the installations, and we also specialize in conveyor solutions.
So you're familiar with the grind of entrepreneurship. You're a grinder, you're a hustler, you're out there, surviving on your wits like we all are.
Yes.
So how many years have you been an entrepreneur?
Since 2013. So if you do the math, that should be about 7 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, 7,
That's
8
great.
years, yeah.
Our topic today is how to build your future as an entrepreneur. So we're going to break it down into 10 nuggets, and then in the end, of course, you'll give us a bonus if there's any.
No problem.
What's your comment on this common saying, 20% or even 1% or 5% of something is better than 100% of nothing?
Well, ideally, a lot of founders, founders suffer from what we call founder's block. When you suffer from this founder's block, you feel that when you run a business, you must be in control of everything. You can't bring on new individuals. You must make every decision. At the end of the day, you might find that you have a great idea, great concept, but because you don't have the right partners, the right support systems, it doesn't take you anywhere.
It's a little bit like writer's block for writers and authors, eh?
Exactly. So 20% of something versus 100% of nothing then requires you to know that, listen, you need to bring on board the necessary people to work with, such that you can actually grow your business and go further. I think there is this saying that if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Isn't part of it an obsession with control? A lot of entrepreneurs want almost total control of the idea.
Yes, that actually is the basis of it. You don't want to be questioned. You want to ensure that whatever vision you see has no input, no disturbance, and everything goes exactly as you see it.
So what would be your advice to a novice entrepreneur coming out of school with a brilliant idea? No funding, no support. What do you think is the correct attitude to take for them to be able to find that sort of funding?
Well, the first thing is you must be open to working with other people. You cannot go at it alone. That is, a very, very difficult road if you want to sit down and say, I can do things by myself, without any support, without any help. That is the first thing that's most important. Okay.
Let's talk about building the right team. As you said, you cannot do it alone. What are the sort of factors that an entrepreneur has to keep in mind in building the right team? Right as opposed to wrong. It's possible to get it wrong.
Yes. So I think this actually leads on from the first point we've been making, where you need to find the right people. So ideally you're looking at, you need to find the right partner, you need to find the right mentor, you need to find the right employee. And I always say you must not be afraid to fire the wrong employee. It's cheaper to fire the wrong employee early than to keep someone on for 10 years and you pay them out and there's no benefit. Also, you need to find the right partner, the right customer. The customer is part and parcel of the family in terms of business, because you don't want stressful customers. You don't want customers who say bad things about you while they're seeking your service. There's quite a lot of factors there. Yes.
There's a tendency, isn't there, among founders and entrepreneurs to say that they're feeling compassionate towards maybe a mediocre employee? How do you deal with that?
Honestly, it's all about output sometimes. You really need to have systems in place that allow you to measure certain outputs from your employees. If there is no performance, there is no point in remunerating this individual or keeping them on your payroll.
Okay. Now, know your strengths. I think in dealing with this one, tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and also about your company and how you've come to know your strengths.
Okay. So with this one, there's always two sides. So the strengths and the weaknesses as well. So for me, my strengths are, getting things done. I'm an operations individual. I'm also a planner. So when I sit down with my business partners, anything that is, when we, explore an avenue, I'm the person who gets on the ground, does all the research, gathers all the knowledge, all the information. And generally, when it comes to implementation, I'm the individual who also gets to the point of implementation. The other side is, it's not just important to know your strengths, you also need to know where you're weak as well. For me, at the beginning, it used to be two things specifically. So my finances, in terms of handling money, and delegation. I like to do everything. So I had to learn how to let go and give instructions to other people so that they could do the work.
And it wasn't easy, eh?
No, it wasn't. I'm still struggling with it.
And did it require an external factor or a specific event for you to now, say, enough, now I'm going to do it? Or it just happened and evolved naturally? It's taken a series of events. It's common. What's common with me is I take on so much, and eventually I start to drown in work. Okay.
And then my partners would say, "My friend, listen, this is what you're doing. This is where you're going wrong, and you really need to do better by delegating the work. You've got the employees. Do the best thing for yourself."
Okay. The next point we want to talk about is learning how to analyze risk.
Yes.
In talking about this, I want you to be shameless and, plug your company. Tell us what the company is doing, how successful it is, and how you tackle the issue of risk.
Okay, so I think with me, it starts off by saying, look, any decision that you make on a daily basis is a risk. Whether it's something that you eat in the morning, how you brush your teeth, the whole nine yards. There's always a risk factor.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, as minimal as it might be.
Yeah, exactly. Some stuff it's natural now that you avoid risk in the way you say brush your teeth, but there is risk in some of these, some of the things that we do. But the main thing as an entrepreneur is there's risk in investment. I think at the time when we started this business for the coding side of things, the business was probably valued about 100,000.
Explain to the viewer what is the coding side of things. They may not know what you're talking about.
So ideally, when you buy a bottle of water, your milk, or anything along those lines, normally you tend to look for the best before date, the manufacturing date, and the batch number on the product. So our machines, our specialized machines, actually print that information on products while during production processes. Yes. So that is what we call coding. So it's not the usual computers that people assume that it's applications and things like that.
We're thinking of Elon Musk type of coding.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So when our business first started, I think the valuation was probably sitting at about 100,000 pula. So, give or take a few tebes here and there. The risk factor for me was and at that point I had 100% of the business. And today I own only 20% of this business, but it's cracking close to 1 million pula in value.
Close to?
1 million pula in business value. So what was then, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, and I owned 100% of 100,000 as the first one mentioned. I own, 20% of 1 million pula today.
It's a lot more,
So I took time to assess and analyze and realize, with all the points, find the right partner, find the right mentor, find the right team, and then say, is this a risk worth taking? Can I lose control of my business? And bring on more funding and things that will give me more drive. So that's how I look at the risk analysis factor. Yes.
And where do we normally get it wrong in terms of analyzing risk wrong? I mean, where would typically a novice or a rookie entrepreneur make a mistake?
A rookie entrepreneur would probably, when you oversell something to yourself, probably is your first area. So if you fail to do certain amount of research in a market, or you try and enter something because your next door neighbor is doing it and he's making money, or she's making money, but what you've not gotten to really understand is what have they done, to get to the level they're at, and little things like that. Have they borrowed money? Have they starved themselves for the last 10 years? The things that we don't really take into account. We just think, okay, it's a good business idea, and with minimal bits of information, we shoot in.
Let's talk about mastery of finances, which is our next point. Master your finances. Does that require bringing in accountants or bringing in financial experts? Or how do you mean? How does an entrepreneur master his finances?
So at the beginning, obviously, an entrepreneur might not afford some of the financial advisors and full-time accountants. You need to look at how you run your bank accounts. So as I mentioned earlier, one of my weaknesses was financial management. First company I set up ever, I used to run my business bank account like my personal bank account.
The two
yes.
were mixed.
Exactly. Yeah. So if I felt like having Nando's for lunch, I would go swipe. It's nothing to do with the company. I'd go and eat. If I felt like doing groceries for the house, I would just use the company account. So the first matter was, learning to manage these finances. So you need to separate yourself from your business. So even if your account has no pullers in it whatsoever, your personal account, and your company account is sitting on 1 million puller, it is not your money.
Okay, do you then have to declare dividend or perhaps give yourself an early salary?
Exactly, that is the only way, or drawings as they say.
Yeah.
Yes, that is one of the ways you start to master your finances. The next side of it as well is you need to split the way you do accounting within your business. In a sense that you've got your primary business account where obviously all your money arrives. You've got your margins. So if your business margin is say 30%, you need to have a certain section of that 30% saved, put away into a separate account that you cannot immediately access, whether it's a 7-day call account or 30-day call account, such that this is for dividend declaration in the event of a rainy day, things like that, such that you only manage your business with say 75% of the money that's actually come in.
So are you constantly taking out and then saving, putting aside
yes
a certain portion?
Exactly. Yes.
But Botswana do not do that at all. What do you say to a Botswana entrepreneur to encourage them to have that discipline to do that?
Normally, I say this to my mentees now that it's you have to start somewhere. No one can ever hold a gun to your head and say you better do this. You start somewhere, start small. 50 puller there, 100 puller there, 1,000 puller there, and you gradually get into it. I think, as you mentioned, you've got your system of taking a walk, while you're on the phone. So you started somewhere, and then it's become ingrained in you as well. So it's the only thing is
just
just
talking
take the
about
first
the
step.
idea of. Explain to them what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, well, you want to increase your step count, as you exercise to ensure that with our phones they give us the these number of steps you've taken in a day.
Yes.
So Mr. Mogobe, I've noticed that when he's on the phone, he walks around, just to make sure that his step count is kept up.
Yeah. So it's similar to that. All right, let's get to the next point, which is when you say jot it down. Jot what down and why?
Okay, so with jot it down, as you can see, I've got my 2 journals that I go around with everywhere.
I don't think it's visible.
I've got my 2 journals. The third one's actually in the car. So the main idea of these...
Let's 2 journals, eh?
Yes.
Actually, you have 3, one in the car.
Yes, the other one's in the car.
They're all current.
Yes, they're all current, yes.
Explain to us how this one works and how this one works, what they're all about. Let's start with this one.
So this one here has, as you can see, it's actually looking very used. I think it's less than 3 months old. Everything I do on a day-to-day basis. So on a Monday morning or Sunday, I set up 2 pages where I put in all my things I have to do for this week. So I've got, whether it's a quotation, it's a site visit, or whatever it is, it's all sitting and listed in this particular book. And then as I get more tasks, I include them there. As I complete them, I tick them off. So this helps me with my time management.
It also excites you every time you take something off.
Exactly.
Keeps you, keep the fuel going.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's talk about this one.
Right, and then this one here, when I'm noting key matters. So like the talking points that I'd probably deliver at an event, or when I have to expand issues on a business, I normally tend to.
When you prepared for this interview.
Yes, the notes are sitting in there as well.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you keep them separate?
This one, if you look at it, it will look very confusing. It's got lots of drawings, lines, cancellations. It's not as neat.
Okay.
This one is, a bit more systematic. It's much neater, and only a lot of vital information that I need to also refer to later goes inside here.
And the one in the car?
The one in the car is strictly for business. So, for example, we have a consortium that is currently in formation. So we've gathered 10 young entrepreneurs and young professionals in Botswana with an idea of basically venturing into property. I can share this information.
You can share,
The idea being we run as if we're a cooperative of sorts. We have an annual membership, and then you've also got a monthly contribution. Now, after say a year or 2 years, we have quite a bit of cash reserves. We also have 10 portfolios of people in business and with good jobs.
It's an investment group.
Exactly. We're able to go.
Not a motel.
No.
Okay, but similar.
Yes, something similar, but we don't. December doesn't come, and we start again.
And then you disband because the treasurer is nowhere to be found.
Exactly. So we're running that. So information from those meetings and key information there sits in that particular journal, and for other businesses and stuff like that.
Is this something you would encourage a viewer to consider doing? And how did you go about setting up that investment group?
We've actually, one of your former views here, Precious.
Yeah.
Partners, yes. So she'll be coming on board as our representative for legal. And what we've just done is we've set up a company.
I trained her. She's my mentee. She worked with me for 9 years.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So I'm very proud of what she's doing.
Okay. So how it works basically is you gather individuals, either like-minded individuals. What we've done is we've said each person is in a different profession, so that it also opens up our minds to alternative investments.
Like a mastermind group,
Yes,
but
exactly.
with a twist, yeah.
Exactly. With the idea, we've then set up a company. So with this company, each person owns a portion of this company. How we kicked it off is for the first 2 years, you are locked into the business. So you have to contribute continually for the first 2 years.
About 1,000, 2,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But thereafter, if you'd like to leave, we then value this particular business and then we pay you out. Ideally, we'd want someone to replace you, so it makes it easy and keeps the balance. But I would really encourage people to venture down these routes.
Yeah, we have a similar one. We call it Tsela Alliance.
Okay.
And every 2 years or so, we sort of go out. And last place we went to Zimbabwe to celebrate.
All right.
But we've invested in property. We've invested in companies.
Yes, yeah.
And it's a brilliant idea. So congratulations. Keep it up.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to eat it and train it. First, explain the it.
Okay, so the it is basically your mind and body, right? This is what you have to consistently take care of. Without it, you can't work. You can't do anything.
Without the mind.
Yeah, without the mind, without the body. Yeah.
Okay, so what training is there, and what do you mean eat it? You don't eat your mind.
So when we say from an eating perspective, we're really focusing mostly on the body. Get the right meals in. In some cases, I know, like my mother, she likes ensuring that omega-3 is one of the tablets that you always take.
Supplement.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
just one omega-3 tablet a day.
Yes.
That sort of thing.
Exactly.
Is it because you feel you're not getting enough nutrients from your regular diet?
It's just to supplement. We're in an era where we exposed to a lot of processed food, which is really like paper or plastic, which is not good for the body. So just to ensure that some of the stuff,
fizzy stuff as well, which is poison.
Yeah, and the sugars and all that.
And avoid that like a plague.
So all these things are, it's necessary just to get the, the necessary nutrients, additional nutrients into your body. So along with eating right, so, your vegetables, the good food.
Are you saying you cannot be a successful entrepreneur if you don't eat right and if you don't train?
My question would be, what becomes the use when you've spent the last 10 years of your life working and you end up in a hospital bed and you spend all your money on medical bills?
Oh, okay.
Yet you could have been living a very healthy, a much healthier life with a bit of exercise here and there. It doesn't have to be a daily routine, just once every 2-3 days, just to get the body going.
I've heard Mr. Muni, who's one of my mentors, say he doesn't do something unless it's necessary. And he figured that alcohol and smoking is not necessary. Do you have to take the same view?
For me, smoking has been a no-no for years.
Yeah.
Alcohol, I'm 3 decades later, I'm still young. So once in a while, we do partake in an alcoholic beverage here and there.
Yeah, but what would you advise a would-be entrepreneur? You tell them to be careful with alcohol or to avoid it.
It goes on character now. It's difficult for me to say to someone, don't drink. I would say be minimal about it.
Yeah.
Your Monday to Friday, something that you completely avoid.
Unless you find that you have proclivities or you have tendencies to misbehave when you drink, so then maybe you need to avoid it.
Yes, completely. Yes, yeah. True.
I would personally, at my age, the last, I don't know whether it's 10 or 15 years, I've avoided it completely.
Okay.
So
All right.
it's not necessary.
I hope to be in that league at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You describe, and this is point number 8, entrepreneurship as a journey. That seems like a cliche, isn't it?
Yes,
Everything
it
is a journey, isn't
Yes,
it?
true.
Yeah, life itself is a journey. Yeah. So why do you say entrepreneurship is a journey?
So it's a journey. It's different from leaving Gaborone and saying we're going to Cape Town. We know it's 1,400 kilometers. We leave at 8 p.m. We're there by lunchtime tomorrow. The idea of entrepreneurship being a journey is that you really don't know where this is going to end. But the key thing is you need to start to go somewhere. Then you look at things like the idea of you need to be patient. You need to focus on building a legacy. And then this normally brings me to touch on something that sometimes is a bit sensitive with some people, where we compare a European mindset versus an African mindset, where we say the term old money is normally associated with an individual of European descent, because someone sat in a house, maybe similar to this or smaller somewhere in the 1800s, and said, "I'm going to start building something today for my children and for my children's children," and on and on like that. But from the African perspective, my brothers and sisters, we've seen that a lot of times where people build the business for here and now. I want to enjoy. When the father figure dies or the mother figure dies, people tend to remain with things like debt, for example. Yet someone...
Is it not because the money economy is new to us?
That is a factor. But I think we live in a because we feel we're disadvantaged from before. We want to look like we've arrived today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yet we don't think, what am I going to leave my children with? How are we going to build for them? So the whole focus of entrepreneurship being a journey is that it's not just one facet to say you're looking at your business alone. It's about the legacy you leave. What you do while you're an entrepreneur. I also think you had a individual here. You spoke about emotional intelligence.
Yes,
on the show as well.
we had 2 or 3 shows on that.
Yes,
including with Mr. Mogobe France.
Yes. And one of the things that stood out there was when someone makes money, it changes them. They start to walk different. They talk different. And all these things. So it's all part of this journey. That there's so much information, so many things that you're going to pick up, and that will actually take us, I think, into the 9th point.
Yes. And the 9th point, since you've already laid it out, is that learning never stops. Are we in school forever?
We're in school forever. Whether it's like we mentioned, entrepreneurship, we're changing the mindset to say you need to stop thinking about yourself. You need to think about others. I know that my EQ at some point was not at its best. So it's taken time over the years.
What did you do to raise it?
one, it was people actually highlighting, you know, where I make errors, and then also
Explain to the viewer what you mean by EQ.
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Emotional quotient.
Yes.
Is the
Quotient.
same as, so you have intelligence quotient, IQ.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So the idea is that people would point out. So I'd actually had people actively point out to say, you know, you might be you're going wrong here. You could have approached this differently. I also took time to read a couple of books on EQ, just to basically, you know, just also help me self introspect, if I can put it that way, or introspect, not self introspect, introspect actually.
Yeah.
So that I could better understand where I'm going wrong.
But can you really learn entrepreneurship? Is it something you can read in a book?
Probably reading in a book, maybe not. You can be taught the necessary skills to be an entrepreneur. You know, the common skills like understanding your finance, understanding the market, marketing, understanding your product, understanding your customer. So a lot of people can be taught a lot of these things. But then the real tough part of you being an entrepreneur is the things where you're really grinding out. Is now it's now more character, it's things that are built in your character.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's I can't remember whether it's John Maxwell who was asked a question. Are entrepreneurs born or are they made? And he jokingly responds, I haven't seen one who has not been born yet. But you know the question. Yes. So what do you think? Are they born or are they made?
Honestly, these entrepreneurs are made. That's how I see it. You see an opportunity, you have the character and resolve to venture into this opportunity, you learn the necessary skills along the way, and you make it. Yeah.
So you can never be an entrepreneur and rely on talent alone, or rely on birth alone, or you know, born in the right family, that kind of stuff.
Fortunately, there are some people who are born into it, but still, that person who's born into it is not born knowing how to, you know, how to count money, how to grow a business.
I suppose that's why the Rockefellers and the Kennedys and all those big families, maybe not so much the Kennedys, would insist that their children go to Harvard and they get an MBA and things like that to get to a certain level.
Yes.
So it shows that whether you found the money or not, you still have to keep it.
Exactly.
So you're right. I agree with you that entrepreneurs are made. Yes. Now this one, we start on a point of saying some people, and I can think of 10 guys just thinking about this, they are forever starting up. So you say, don't be a startup guy. Explain that. What's wrong with these people who are forever starting something? Sometimes they keep chopping and changing. How do we deal with that mentality, and how do we address it? And secondly, why do you say it? Why do you say it as a point you want to share with the viewer, the listener? Don't be a forever startup guy.
So when you consistently, let's say an individual every 2-3 months, when you meet them, they have a new idea, a new concept. You start to feel that, one, this person has no credibility in terms of you know, the ideas that they propose. Secondly, this person has no, if I can say, I don't know if I can say longevity, or they're not able to sustain a project long enough.
Integrity, yeah.
It's an integrity to see it through. At the slightest chance of a new opportunity, they'll jump ship. You know, so if you invest your money in an individual like that, and something goes wrong just once, they could, you know, abandon the entire project. So there's two sides to this, where I would say in a business, you obviously, when you start something, start it with a long-term view, right? Explore when things go wrong, at the first side of trouble, or when things go wrong, don't stop because, or suddenly, no, maybe I lost a bit of money or whatever it is. Try and sit down and actually understand, you know, when you go back to analyzing risk, see where you went wrong. See how you can better your business and how you can do things better as well. And then go back to the drawing board and then start again.
You're talking about grit and persistence.
Exactly. And then the other side also says, with grit and persistence, again, risk analysis. It doesn't mean persist with something for the next 10 years. If it's not working, it's not working.
Yeah.
Also see that there is an end to something as well. Yes.
Be able to see that.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. You've shared with us 10 nuggets of wisdom on this idea of entrepreneurship in the Botswana context. Can you now give us one idea, one takeaway? What did you say you want the viewer to remember you by? If there was one powerful point you would wish to share.
I think the last point is basically your net worth. Your network will equal your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Explain.
So who you know and who you associate with could result in you actually making a very decent amount of money or decent living.
What are you asking the viewer to do? What are the action steps?
The action steps for me, I would say it's very, very basic. Put yourself out there. Take opportunity to go to networking events. Try and meet the right people. Assess the people that you hang out on a daily basis. Do you aspire to be like them? Do they inspire you and challenge you, to become a better person? And if they don't give that to you, then your circle has to change. Yeah.
All right. How does the viewer get hold of you? And also, please don't forget to encourage the viewer to subscribe to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom at the end of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you would like to get hold of me, I am on Facebook with the name Fred Maunze. I am also on Twitter. I am also on Instagram. And then I think when the video is uploaded, I'll punch in my my email address there and contact information as well in case anybody wants to get in touch with me.
Yeah, feel free to share it.
Okay. So my email address is fredmaunze@gmail.com, and then my contact number is 72944931. Right. And please don't forget to subscribe to the Nuggets of Wisdom on Facebook. Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom to be specific.
On YouTube and Facebook. Thank you very much. You've been a wonderful guest.
Thank you. All right.
Okay.